Today, I'm going to give you a beginner's step-by-step guide to DaVinci Resolve. I've been telling everyone and their dog to switch to DaVinci Resolve. It's by far the most powerful, free editing and post-production suite on the market. In fact, it might be the most powerful post-production suite, free or not. And I don't mean free like free for 30 days or free if you buy something, I mean free. Anyone can download and install the latest version of DaVinci Resolve on their PC or Mac and begin using it. And I've had a few comments asking me to do a quick start, step-by-step guide to DaVinci Resolve, like this one from a friend of mine. So here it is, my step-by-step guide to getting started with DaVinci Resolve. Now, there's a few things you need to do to get the most out of your software. The first thing you need to do is change a few settings. In Resolve, you set your frame rate and your timeline size in the project settings window. You must do this step first, otherwise it's a total pain to change at a later date. So, open up project settings, and we're going to change our master settings to the size we want our timeline. I want a UHD or 4K timeline, and then I want my frame rate to be 29.97 as I'm editing for YouTube. Next is optimize media. First thing we need to do is go back to our project settings, and in master settings, scroll until you reach optimize media and render cache. Here you can choose what resolution and format you want your proxy files to be. I've chosen ProRes Proxy. Once you've done this, you can go to your media pool, right-click on your footage and select Generate Optimized Media. Resolve will then create proxy files at a lower resolution or more compressed file format for real-time playback. This will take different amounts of time based on the length of your footage, the amount of footage, and the parameters you set in your project settings. Now, if you don't want to spend time optimizing media, you can select your proxy playback mode, either quarter resolution or half resolution. However, this isn't ideal if the footage you're editing requires close analysis of the details. Proxy mode footage is quite blurry and pixelated. So your settings are sorted, you've created your proxies, it's now time to start editing or cutting. Let's take a look at the cut window. This is a new addition to Resolve in version 15, I believe. This is a stripped back, simplified timeline where you can make rough assemblies of your project. Now, if you're like me, I like to drop whole interviews or pieces to camera onto the timeline and just cut away the bits I don't want. Or if I've got lots of B-roll footage, I can drop it all on the timeline and make a simple select sequence that I can pick from later in my edit. The layout is more condensed and can be viewed a lot easier on a laptop screen, so you can make rough assemblies on location if need be. The cut page also offers a dual timeline, so you can see the whole length of your sequence and also a closer look at the cuts within that timeline. It's a great addition to the editing workflow, and its stripped back look helps me concentrate more on story and flow rather than whether the audio's in the right place or if I've got music beds or how a transition looks. If I want to delve deeper into the edit itself, I'd move on to the next window or the next workspace. The edit workspace in Resolve looks a lot like the edit workspace in most NLEs. So let's go through some of the tools and the shortcuts too. First thing I want to mention are the keyboard shortcuts. A lot of you will go ahead and change them to the setup you're used to. What I'm recommending is don't. Learn the Resolve shortcuts. There's different tools, there's different ways of editing. Get to grips with the way Resolve works and you'll understand Resolve much better. There are lots of things in Resolve that other NLEs haven't thought of, or you have to add afterwards. For instance, if you press full stop or comma, you can move a clip forward one frame or back one frame. Or if you highlight the beginning of your clip and press full stop or comma, you will shorten or extend the clip one frame. This is brilliant for removing flash frames. Also, Command B on a Mac or Control B on a PC makes a cut. This is great if you're working on a laptop with a trackpad. It saves so much time. Speaking of time saving, this one is aimed at the Mac users. Let's talk about multi-button mice. Since I've moved to a multi-button mouse, my editing times have improved noticeably. I got the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 from Amazon for about £30, and it's a great investment because you can map different keyboard shortcuts, different commands and keys and all sorts to different keys on this mouse. It's got 3 extra buttons on this mouse, and those 3 extra buttons have saved me so much time. Also in the edit window, you have some super powerful extras like stabilization and retime controls that show you what a dinosaur Adobe Premiere is. I'll get to those in more detail in another video. Next we have Fusion. Now I'm no expert on Fusion and I'm not going to go into detail on how to use it and how to do things in this video, but this is a super powerful node-based visual effects platform that once you get to grips with, it can infinitely enhance your post-production workflow. Be it keying in green screen, animating text, tracking, compositing, and anything you can really think of, Fusion can do it. There are also built-in how-tos and templates that will help expand and speed up your Fusion knowledge. The next workspace is Color. Color is also node-based and is where Resolve started as the Hollywood standard for color grading and correction. There's so much horsepower in this workspace, it's hard to know where to begin. And this video would be hours long if I got into it now. So instead, I'm going to give you some basic tips on how you can get Resolve to do the hard work for you. If you're working on an edit for a client that isn't that knowledgeable on the video production techniques and how things work, and they're asking why your log footage looks so grey and washed out, you can do a quick auto color in Resolve using this little A down here. Clicking here will let Resolve do what it thinks your footage needs to look awesome. Do you know what? I think it does a great job. Also, if you've got some footage that hasn't been white balanced correctly, let's be honest, it happens to the best of us, especially when running and gunning. You could take this eyedropper tool here and click on the objects in your image you know are white, and hey presto, white balanced footage. This also helps if you're shooting two angles of the same shot and they're not balanced correctly. Here you can also add film grains, vignettes, lens correction, and a whole bunch of other awesome and powerful effects that will make your projects and films pop. We then move on to the Fairlight Workspace. This is a fully featured audio mixing and production interface where you can do all manner of effects to your sound, dialogue, and music. It gives you control over different audio tracks with these sliders. It's a really powerful addition to your post-production workflow. You can even record voiceovers and ADRs for your films if you needed to. And finally, we come to the Deliver Workspace. Now, not long ago, before DaVinci Resolve was a post-production powerhouse, it was used for two things: color grading and transcoding, which means converting them from the camera's native format to a format that can be edited or a more compressed proxy format. But now, on top of that, this is where you export your projects. Here, there are so many different options for exporting your projects. You can export XMLs to Premiere or Final Cut, AAFs for Avid Media Composer, exports for Pro Tools. There are also presets for YouTube and Vimeo too. So that's it, a quick start guide to DaVinci Resolve. So hopefully that will get you editing and grading and sound mixing and everything else DaVinci Resolve can do a lot quicker. If you think I missed anything or you want me to go into more detail on anything in this video, please comment below. And if this video has been helpful, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of new content. I also live stream editing tutorials, video production tips, lighting setups, and a whole host of other things on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/IamBenMills. Give that a follow to be notified when I go live. As always, all my links are in the description below. Take care and thanks for watching.